Oh goodness, those tires. In 6 seconds, we could do that a whole lot quicker, but the tires were screaming in anguish. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 22 Kia K5 GT. We are going to take it for a drive, but first let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. Up front is a shark nose with this dark gray painted grille beneath an aluminum Kia badge, and that's all above a functional front air dam with gloss black accenting. There are reflector LEDs as standard, but the GT1 package turns those into projectors, and there are standard LED DRLs and turn signals. At the lower corners are some fake vents, but LED fog lights. This car is painted in blue sapphire. It's got a very fine metallic flake on the paint surface, and the color looks awesome in the sun. Here on an overcast day, still a nice hue. At the side, the GT line gets 18-inch wheels, but the GT ups those to these 19-inch alloys with a two-tone finish wrapped in Pirelli P Zero all-season tires, 245 section front and rear. Within those wheels are upgraded GT brakes. There's black gloss for the mirror caps and this chrome trim that borders the entire upper half of the vehicle. Stepping back to look at the profile, the K5 has this fastback silhouette that's emphasized by that chrome bar. At the rear is an LED taillight bar that goes across the trunk lid and has incandescent turn signals within. There's a black lip spoiler, black gloss for the lower bumper, and for these additional fake vents. And there's a gray painted diffuser with 4 exhaust outlets. The K5's face looks really good to me. The rear 3/4 though, with this kind of bulbous portion here, is peculiar to my eyes. What do you guys think though? Is the K5 better or worse looking than a Honda Accord Sport? Let me know in the comments. And let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this chestnut brown leatherette interior with the GT1 package, there are seat perforations and some fabric details. On the doors, hard scratchy plastics up high, black plastic insert above a strip of chrome, leatherette with contrast stitching, padded leatherette for your armrest, gloss black that will not age well, one touch up down windows, upgraded Bose premium audio system with that GT1 package, and more hard scratchy plastics down low. Stepping in, easy to do. Behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, I've got a great portion of knee room, more hard scratchy plastics. Map pocket here looks nice. Good sized foot pockets to slide my feet under. Thigh support is solid, and headroom is as well. Gets the thumbs up from me. 2 air vents here in the middle, above 2 USB-A ports. The drive shaft up isn't massive, so it's not too hard to get into the middle seat, but then my head definitely doesn't clear the roof here because of this saggy portion right here. At least you get this nice big glass roof, and my recommendation would just be to stick a kid here or no one at all, so you can use the armrest that comes down with 2 cup holders and good padding. Apart from the hard plastics, the back seats of the Kia K5 GT are great with plenty of space and nice features for 4 adults, not 5. Let's check out the front. Door close noise. Oh, that is so solid. I love that thud. Smart Keyless Entry is for the front 2 doors. These front seats are heated as standard and ventilated with the GT1 package. The same package adds on not just power adjustments for the driver's seat, but also for the passenger side. There's lumbar control for the driver. Hit this button and the trunk lid pops all the way up. Inside, we find 16 cubic feet of space. It's a very large trunk, and you can expand that storage by pulling on these 2 tabs and pressing forward on the 60/40 split folding rear chairs. Under the floor is a donut. Same materials on the front doors as the back. Add on power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, and 2-position memory for the driver's seat. We'll put the vehicle in accessory mode. That's 2 taps on the start-stop button. That will turn on the itty-bitty TFT display that's sandwiched between an analog tachometer and speedometer. To its right, we find a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system that is crazy quick to respond and very intuitive in the layout. It also has wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Above the screen is an injection molded and fake stitched dashboard. Here's some nicer looking and feeling plastics though. Dual zone auto climate control system is standard. 2 USB-A ports and a DC outlet here. Some storage. Wireless smartphone charging pad there. More gloss black here in a place that will really smudge, scratch, and collect dust. That's unfortunate. You do have 2 cup holders and a cool looking and feeling gear selector. Leatherette topped armrest under which we find a great deal of storage for a sedan, plus another USB-A port. Drivers get a heated leather wrapped steering wheel that looks and feels awesome in the hands. Love the flat bottom. Dinky feeling plastic paddles in the back of the wheel, that's okay. Visibility is excellent with the addition of those small back windows. Plus we've got standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. Really digging the color and look of these seats, plus the aesthetic intrigue of the dashboard. I just think there may be 1 or 2 many hard plastic touch points at $36,000 as tested. Let's take the Kia K5 GT for a drive now. All right, let's fire it up. You know, there's an interesting clunk on startup. After the motor's on, it's almost as if the parking powell hasn't fully clicked into the gear, and then it does after you start it up. That's weird. To go into reverse, we pull back on the thrust looking controller here, and that brings up a high resolution backup camera both day and night. This camera looks really good. And we also have a bird's eye view off to the right with the GT1 package. You can look at the shot over the trunk and at the rear tires as well. We'll back on out of here. Trajectory lines are there for us. Down into drive. And we will begin with a turning radius test, as usual. Cranked. Bring up the parking camera anytime you want. It's a solid turning radius. And we're beginning in the normal drive mode of our normal Sport, Sport Plus, and Custom options. Let's listen to the turn signal sound now. I always did like the sound of the Kia Hyundai turn signal. It's so pleasant. And the world famous horn test is up next. Ooh. Perky powertrain in the K5 GT. It is a turbocharged 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that makes a whopping 290 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. That's a big increase in power over the 180 horsepower GT Line K5. That engine is mated to an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. Worth noting that in the GT Line, you're using a torque converter automatic. Here, the dual-clutch is a sportier gearbox with quicker shifts. The only small byproduct of going with the dual clutch is typically it's a clunkier transition at lower speeds. The only time that's really perceptible in the K5 GT is just barely eking out of the hole or coming to a stop. I mean, really 1 or 2 mile per hour increments. Then you can feel the clunkiness there. Otherwise, it's super smooth in operation. And in normal mode, with peak torque coming in from just 1,650 RPM, this turbo motor does not really lack in power. There's not that long, drawn-out delay that can sometimes happen with single turbo engines. There's just buttery power. Now the ride in the K5 GT is on the firmer side. The GT model gets a sport-tuned passive damper suspension compared to the GT line, and you can feel that. the road imperfections do jostle you around. The ride isn't quite rocky, but you do feel the bumps, and it's not as comfortable. The seats are supportive. There's not a ton of lateral bolstering there. We'll see how that affects us in a corner. But the cushioning and ergonomics are solid. The brake pedal tuning is excellent. Very easy to modulate that and come up to a smooth stop. We should see if the K5 GT is quick to 60 with all of its power. So let's do a real world 0 to 60 test next. For that, I've got my race box set up here, and then I'm going to move into the Sport Plus drive mode, which will disable traction control, but for launch control, I also need to turn off stability control. Hold that for 3 seconds and you're good. Then I'm gonna hold my foot hard on the brake while pinning the throttle, build up the revs to where I've set it at 3,000 RPM, and let it go. Oh goodness, those tires. In 6 seconds, we've hit 60 miles per hour. And the power on hand said we could do that a whole lot quicker, but the tires were screaming in anguish because 1, they're all seasons, and 2, we've got all of that horsepower just going to the front tires, and there is no limited slip differential to help distribute that and help meter out that power. 6 seconds to 60. Independent tests have seen as quick as the low 5-second range, but really we just need some summer rubber here at the very least. Now in the mid-range, when the tires aren't as much of an issue, if I just put my foot down, goodness, the K5 GT rips. As you get to the upper part of the rev range, where that peak power sets in, there's some intense motivation. And the dual clutch is not sluggish on the downshift, and just keeps you going with the upshift. If I wanted to try manual control, I can click this gear selector over and pull on these plastic paddles. Quick downshift. Oh, it upshifted at 6,000 RPM. It indicates the red line at 6,500. That's unfortunate. I couldn't even get over to the plus paddle because it upshifted so early. Let's try that again. Yet again, at 6,000, it upshifted for me. So manual mode is really not interesting, apart from seeing a quick downshift. Really just seems like you let the dual clutch do its own thing. And it's happy to rip through the gears and hurtle forward. This is a mighty motor. I mean, a pull in this car against some very fast vehicles would actually be kind of interesting. It's that fast. Wow. Let's measure up the handling next. And to give this car a fair trial, I'm keeping the traction and stability off. Do you hear those tires? They're so upset. I like the brakes. Steering balance is super nice. And the power out of corners is awesome. Good suspension tuning. Not going to do the brakes any favors here. But the stopping power is considerable. The body stays composed. It's stable under hard braking. Oh, you just got to watch that understeer with all that power coming out of a corner. I'm telling you, the steering Suspension tuning, braking, and engine potency are just crying out for a limited slip differential and better tires. They deserve it. This car just has so many excellent performance elements that are held back by the absence of those details. It's still fun, but it could be properly fast. Okay. I think it's time to assign a miles per hour word of the day to the K5 GT. And the word that comes to mind is not on the surface flattering, but let me explain. That word is disproportionate, meaning out of balance. And I picture the K5 GT as someone at the gym who has this incredible upper body, but they skip leg day. Meaning this car has all of this potency, but it can't get the power adequately to the ground, so it's got birdie legs. Still impressive, still fun to drive, but birdie legs. Pricing and competition, actually, before that, top speed of the K5 GT is a pretty impressive 155 miles per hour, and the fuel economy is also impressive at 24 mpg city, 32 on the highway, and 27 combined. The starting figure for the GT model is $32,000, and this one is tested with that GT1 package that I think is very well worth it for what you're getting, is $36,440. What would you cross shop the K5 GT against? Two competitors come to mind, and then I'll throw in a curveball as a third vehicle option. The Honda Accord 2.0 Sport. And you know what, while we're talking about this, let's do the adaptive cruise control with the steering assist so you can see how sophisticated this system is. It's really good at keeping you in the center of the lane, and it doesn't even make you check in on the wheel all that often, especially if there's not a big curve or departure in your lane. For a mainstream car, this is very, very good. The Accord Sport, $30,000, 252 horsepower, gets to 60 in 5.7 seconds, and has fuel economy of 26 combined. The Toyota Camry TRD, $34,000 to start, does have a V6, and it makes 301 horsepower, gets to 60 in 5.6 seconds, and the fuel economy is 25 combined. Among those options, I think that the Accord Sport is the most well-rounded. It's got good performance, it looks excellent, the interior is well-equipped, and it just kind of feels well-built. The K5 GT, very, very close in terms of desirability to the Accord Sport. I don't think it looks quite as good on the outside. The interior has a little more obviously cheap plastics, but the performance is more exciting than the Accord Sport, and none of those vehicles have limited slip differentials or great tires. It's just something that I think they all really could benefit from, most so the K5. Okay, I was just praising you, system, and then you just left the lane. Most so the K5 GT. I think this one, with those two details, would just be rock solid, as is, it's right there with the Accord Sport. But now I got to throw in the curveball, because at $36,440 as tested, we're within $1,500 of the starting price of the Kia Stinger GT line that has 300 horsepower, is rear-wheel drive, cooler to look at, and has better driving dynamics than this. And I think if you've got the extra money, maybe go with the Stinger. If not, between this and the Accord Sport, it just comes down to how much of a child are you? Because if you're more childish, like perhaps myself, then get this. If you want to be more mature and appreciate the build quality, go with the Accord Sport. Hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I'll see you next time. Whee!